understand. The intelligence requires food, and the more proportion of absolute truth that one is able to perceive, then the more nourishment his intelligence has. See? Lies are like poison for the intelligence. Lies make us stupid. See? If you want to make somebody stupid and confused and unable to act, where their intelligence becomes paralyzed, just feed them lots of lies. That's why we advise people not to read the news or not to watch television too much. And on the contrary, if one has a daily diet of absolute truth, then one's intelligence becomes very sharp. The intelligence becomes strong. The mind becomes quick and agile and clear. And one can understand what is true and what is not true, what is real and what is not real, what exists and what is Maya. This is the process. This is the process. So by nourishing our intelligence with absolute truth, we come to the platform of being able to distinguish between reality and illusion. Isn't that one of the mantras in Ishopanishad? You know that mantra?
One should study the process. Something like one should study the process of knowledge and nescience side by side.
Side by side. Yeah. Well, we already get enough nescience, don't we? So usually what's lacking is truth. Usually what's lacking is the reality. This is what's missing from most people's lives. They're brought up on a diet of unreality. And so after a while they lose the ability to sense whether something is true or not. Just like if you don't get sufficient work, after a while your muscles get weak and you can't work. See, they atrophy. Similarly, the intelligence will atrophy if it doesn't have sufficient nourishment of truth. Then intelligence will become weak. And then a person is easily misled, easily deceived. And we see that in people. We see that people are very gullible. They're very easily misled. They tend to believe people who are, given as authority figures, and they don't subject their impressions to any critical evaluation. Well, this is not very intelligent. So we should always examine, just like if you are eating something. Let's say you're eating some rice, and there may be a stone. Sometimes when they process rice, they put it through a screen to get rid of big pieces of other stuff that they don't want, and just the rice comes through. But sometimes there can be a little stone, just the right size and shape, to go through the screen, and it gets mixed in with the rice. And if you bite down on it, you see? So what you learn, especially if you're in India for a while, to always feel the food with your tongue to make sure there aren't any stones before you bite down on it real hard. Especially dal. Dal, you get a lot of stones. So we should be able to test the truth that we, or the impressions that we get, to determine whether they're truth, whether they are digestible, or whether it's some poison, some untruth that will give us indigestion of the intelligence. So this requires absolute truth. This requires perfect intelligence. This requires advanced knowledge. Knowledge of the absolute truth is only available, as far as we know, from the Vedas. I don't think you can find in any other scripture more than a few little fragments of absolute truth. I mean, still, all those scriptures are valuable because they contain some absolute truth. But the Vedas contains tons of absolute truth. Huh? Like I said, even every word, every letter of every word, if you go deep enough into it, you find all kinds of amazing knowledge. Huh? I found the whole science of music in 2 words in Srimad Bhagavatam. Huh? Sapta Swaraha. If you go deep enough into the meaning of those 2 words, you find the whole science of music. The whole science of rasa is also there. You have to dig. Huh? Just like to mine gold. You have to know where to dig, but then you still have to dig. And if you don't dig, if you don't do the work, you can't get the gold. See, gold has to be taken out and very carefully processed, and so many things have to be done to it. It has to put acid on it and wash away the non-gold bearing ore, and so many things, smelting, and to purify it. So in the normal course of life, we run across so much nonsense, you know. We have to purify that. We have to purify that and get the real meaning out of life, get the gold, get the real value out of life. And we can only do that if we have the absolute truth. So the study of the Vedas is very, very important, very valuable, very useful. So, is there any question or discussion before we go to, yes?
Does the absolute truth have the property that even if we study one shloka, one verse, or some part of the absolute truth, the entire absolute truth is contained within that part?
Yeah, it's fractal.
So does it usually happen that way for devotees? They'll read, a lot, but then they'll finally find one part and then go deep into that part that appeals to them and everything is revealed? Or
yeah, because when you first study the Vedas, you usually don't understand how to study them. You don't understand that you can expand everything that's there. Everything in the Vedas, like you say, it mirrors everything, the whole Vedas. It's just like a fractal. You have one little piece of the fractal that has the design of the whole fractal within it. Yeah? And as you look over this whole fractal with this complicated shape, you see the same thing, same design repeated again and again in all different ways, different angles, different sizes, If you zoom in really close, you'll see that that same shape is repeated little tiny times, millions of times over and over, and so on. So this is the same way with the Vedas. There's one basic truth, and that basic truth is just what we were discussing, Janmadyasya yataha. Janmadyasya yataha. Everything that is created is coming from the source, yataha, that Brahma. The Om, first sutra is Atato Brahma Jignasa. Right? Let us now inquire into this absolute truth, Brahma. What is this Brahma? Janmadyasya yata. Yeah. That from which everything has come. Or actually, he from whom everything has come. Yataha. See? The use of the word yataha indicates a person, not a thing. Brahman is not impersonal. The Supreme Brahman is a person. Let's inquire into this person from whom everything has come, has taken birth. Janma. How can you have something take birth if not from a person, if not from a living being? You see, so the meaning of every single word is very significant. The deep associations and connotations of each and every word in the Vedas is very, very profound. So we should study like that. Scrutinizingly. That's the meaning of scrutinizingly, that we go into the meaning of every word. Every word is a rich source of knowledge. In the beginning, maybe we don't study like that. We just look around. Just like in the beginning, you don't look, when you look at a fractal, you look at the whole thing. And you say, oh yes, very nice, very pretty. And then you start looking at the pieces and you realize, wait a minute, this same design is repeated over and over and over again. So if you just take one piece and you go deep into that piece, you find the whole design is there. Everything is there. So many little tiny parts like that.
That's kind of what is meant sometimes when we say that